Okay, this is Randy again, and I need to give you a little bit of information. This is a sprinkler that I took and I had modified. And so I had modified it initially up here at the very end. And I don't know if you can tell, but I actually had taken the ridge off that they had on there so that the sprinkler would operate fairly quickly. But instead of the water going straight out, the water was going to the side at about a 30-degree angle or so. And this is pretty common on these kind of sprinklers. So in my experimental way, I took and filed that off. So I thought, well, let me see if I can make the sprinkler. I mean, it wasn't like it didn't work, but it didn't work well. So what I did was I took and heated up the plastic basically on the backside enough to where I could bend it with pliers. So now you'll see that this is at a slight angle off to the right. Instead of going straight out, it's bent just enough to the right that this should work now. Now I made one other modification that I have not tested out yet, and that is wrapping tape around this area, which helps give a little bit more control as to the flow of the water instead of spurting out to the side. So back in the original PJ days, this was a complete tube that came around. So it was not like open space like these new sprinklers are. So I want you to see that. Now we're going to test this. Well, we're going to test something else first. Now, in all my experimenting, I was using, this was the base piece of my Raintime. And of course it looks like most of the other bodies, but I don't have any deflector on there, and there's no diffuser on here. And of course, what I did is I managed to finally get, so on the top of most of these sprinklers, at least on the old design, they had a metal center pin. So you can see that that's metal, or at least I hope you can see that. Now, on this one, this was plastic, and when I tried to pull it out, it broke off. So I had to drill this through to try and get the arm out. Well, in the process, I wound up drilling all the way through. And so this actually now has a hole in it, and this part is useless, but in the same process, I also managed to crack this somewhere along here. I managed to crack this, but anyway, not important. So I managed to get the arm out. So I have the arm out, and we're going to test this and see if we even get close to operation. So when I go in reverse, this should work like it's supposed to. It's possible that it could hang up. And if it means I need to tighten the spring again and do another test, then of course. I don't have a whole lot of more parts on these, and so I'm kind of running out of parts. One of the reasons why I changed the arm was two. One was I know this arm worked, and two is it has a newer spring, a spring that I know that's pretty good. So the first one that I was using was this one, and I know it's hard to see, but the edge right here where this is angled is actually eaten away from the usage over the years. So this is not as good a plastic as what Rainbird was using, but nonetheless, it did the job. So I have this one, which looked like it, looked fine. But when we went to go test it, it didn't work at all. So I think maybe it has something to do with the spring. I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out whether this is going to work or not. And I hope that it does. So here we go. And as usual, the sun's going down, which is to my advantage. These pliers don't always want to go in the right spot, but there we go. Okay, so just so you know, this particular sprinkler is a Rocky Mountain one, which I am going to do a video on, which I have not yet. This is actually a very good sprinkler for $6. Actually, the Aqualine P50 is probably is as good a sprinkler and maybe even better for less money. So let's see. All right, well, we're going to find out if this works. I hope it does, but I won't know until we test it. Okay, well, I'm going to leave this here, and I'm going to go turn on the water. Oh, looky there, we got a working sprinkler. It works. Wow. Not that great, but it does work. It is going on its own. So one of the issues that is still going on with that sprinkler is the sleeve and bearing. And although I cleaned up the sleeve bearing and the journal tube, and the journal tube I cleaned up completely and made it like really clean. And of course it's still on the loose side. And I even added the spring between the body and the sleeve just to add a little extra pressure. As you can see, there's still a leak of water. And if that were working better, and I may try it again with the Rainbird journal tube and sleeve and see if I get any different results. But I like what I see. It's actually working. I'm happy. But it's a combination of, well, multiple parts. And you see I had to take the arm. Actually, that arm actually has a split in it too, through where the center pin is. So it's not perfect there, but that being a metal center pin, and there's not a lot of space between for up and down movement. So it's actually working pretty well. This is all a surprise for me. Let's move over here and take a look at it from a different position. Well, it wasn't supposed to get me wet. And of course, I mowed the yard just for you guys so you can see it's nice and green and the sprinkler can do its job. Wow. I'd have been really disappointed if it didn't work this time. So now if you have not seen a Raintime in operation before, you now have seen one. So this is a Raintime from back in the 60s and 70s, early 70s, before H.B. Sherman Manufacturing got bought out and, well, eventually the sprinkler disappeared. I'm still hunting parts for it and other Raintime pieces out there. I'm looking, but I haven't even seen it even mentioned anywhere. So with that, I'm going to say the third is a success, and I'm so glad the surgery worked. Well, if you like the video, please press the like, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Oh, wait a second. We're not done. We have another sprinkler to test. So we're going to take a look at the other sprinklers that I told you about. And we're going to put that on as part of the continuation in my experimentation. So I want to set the camera down. I'll be right back. So we got one more sprinkler to test. Yay for this one. It's not perfect. And if I'm able to find other, so here's the other thing too, is the only other part that I can use for the sleeve and the journal tube is one off of a Rainbird. Now one from a sprinkler like this, of course this one is fused in, so this one's not removable, but on one that's removable, it doesn't fit this size. They're the size of the brass sprinklers. So the brass sprinklers, they're using that size on the newer sprinkler design. So the only other one that works with this is the old Rainbird and possibly the old Nelson. But I think the Nelson uses the newer size. So anyway. So this was the one we're going to test, and I want to show you that this is removable, the journal tube and the sleeve, but that will not work on this sprinkler because it's just a little bit larger screw setting. So we're going to try it out to see if it works. My two modifications on this one. I don't know why this doesn't want to screw in very far. Oh, it's going to. Okay. Do not like the looseness of these stops. The stops are way too loose. Okay. I'm going to find out. The nice thing about the sleeve on this particular one is I can replace it with a sleeve from another sprinkler and it would be fine. But those stops are on the loose side and they're, well, so far they seem to be working. So let me go turn it on and see what we got. So this one doesn't look too good. It looks like it's a little loose in the sleeve and bearing area. Even though it's relatively new, I need to add a spring to that to give it just a little bit of pressure. Well, no, it doesn't want to work at all. So this one is a failure.